I think the trade-off with privacy on the web is a really simple one. And that is, people have got used to things like being able to click and buy on e-commerce and Facebook. And if you run an e-commerce store, you become addicted to this idea that Facebook can find you customers, and all you do is feed the slot machine and people arrive and people pay for stuff and you make a margin and everybody's happy. The reason that happens is because privacy has to be suspended to allow that to happen. As soon as you impose privacy on top of that model, suddenly it's so fragile. There's so many breakpoints, and it only takes one of those breakpoints to snap, and suddenly the model becomes unviable because cost of customer acquisition to the e-commerce shop owner becomes twice what the price of the goods are. Suddenly people find the ads they're getting on their feed have got no resemblance to anything they're remotely interested in. And the system just falls into chaos, because the whole point is it's this roughshod riding over privacy which actually makes the system work. As soon as you try and switch that off, the whole thing becomes just a collection of random nodes. And it's a strange one. People struggle to get the idea that the web is a bunch of nodes and the thing that makes it work is the connections. But at the heart of those connections is that privacy issue. And you can either allow privacy to make those connections or you can allow privacy to break those connections. But as soon as you change privacy to break those connections, the web becomes redundant, because there's no way of jumping from node to node to get to a point A to B through C, D, and E, and F. And this is what I'm saying about that trade-off at the very beginning. You can't have one without the other, because as soon as you forego that privacy thing and make it too hard, the guys who are operating the system, I mean, yeah, let's say you're running Facebook and you have a jurisdiction that says, we're going to make it so hard, you're going to have to forget everybody who actually comes onto your website to use your website. And then you've got another jurisdiction that says, well, you can keep doing business as usual. What are you going to focus your energy on? And what are you going to let wither and die on the vine? And so what happens is, and this I think is the challenge for the EU, is if e-commerce, and more specifically B2B commerce, represents somewhere between 20 to 25 to 30% of your economy, are you really willing to hit that toggle button and say, well, we don't want that anymore because we're going to sacrifice that part of the economy for privacy? Or are we actually going to think like big people and figure out a way of making it work? Because at the end of the day, these things are not an A and B choice. They are an A plus B equals C. And I just don't think people working in that space have the imagination to understand the complexities of it. Does that make sense?